Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. And in this video we have recorded, it was actually recorded during our live stream that we do this last Tuesday. So, we do a live stream every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, when we go over scheduling information, dealer news updates, recalls, and usually have a topic of the week and some other things. But more importantly, we answer your questions live, the community's questions. So we usually have about a couple hundred people in there each week that are watching this live and asking us questions about their order, or how they should order their vehicle and that kind of thing. And that's what we're here for, is to help you answer any questions. So if you want to join us live, and if you have any questions about scheduling, we can answer them live for you. Also, if you drop them down below, we'll try to get those responded as well. But feel free to come back next week. Again, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, if you want to join us live and ask your question, and we can answer your individual question if it hasn't been answered in the past. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and I hope to see you next week. All right, so let's get into scheduling for this week. And again, reminder, this is scheduling notes for this week only. So this is I believe the last week of July's allocations to use for those September build dates for a lot of these models. And we're going to have some they're going to be balanced out next month and everything. But we'll talk about that, start with that next week. I think Friday is the last day for dealers to submit all their requests for allocations and everything, and for everything to be kind of set in stone there. And then scheduling should start next week for August allocations that they've earned for October build dates. So, all right, let's jump in and get to these. First, let's talk about the 24 model year. Actually, hold on. Almost forgot this. Let's first talk about the terminology, so that everybody, especially anybody that are new, we have a lot of people that are just scheduling new builds and everything, so they might be new to this. So let's talk about some of the different terminology. All right, so the order bank is where you placed your order. The dealer placed your order, I should say. So they can place their stock in retail orders in the same place. A retail order is that customer placed order. So that requires a COVP and such. We haven't talked about that in a while, but it requires signatures so they know that's a real person that ordered that. Stock ordering is where a dealer will place those orders as a stock order because for their lot or stock inventory if they don't have any retail inventories, but they've earned allocations, which we'll get into that. Priority code, that's a priority given by the dealer to those orders. A 03 through 19 is a retail priority codes, and 20 to 80 is stock. The lower, the better. So that's why retails are always looked at before a stock, but it doesn't mean a stock retail will always get scheduled. If a stock one is a configuration they're looking for those last builds for the end of the month, a lot of times they got to go to those stock ones to fulfill those. All right, scheduling, that's when Ford schedules an order for production dates in future months. Production date, that is a date that order is scheduled to be built at the factory. Allocations, this is important terminology because allocations, will throw that out a lot. A dealer receives those allocations, or they need an allocation, I should say, to schedule orders, and they receive those allocations from their sales volume and their sales history. And also Ford will look at how many vehicles they have in stock, and that can be actually a detriment to you, to a dealer, if they have a lot of stock inventory, because then that actually they take away from that. They look and see what, based on your sales volume, that you need, and then if you have no inventory, then you're in a deficit. They need to give you some extra allocations. But if you have a lot of in stock, then they're going to say, oh, you're doing pretty good. So then they may not give you as many as you might have earned because you don't need them. You already have the inventory. All right. Constraints, that is an option that may be in short supply or take longer to build. And we'll see that in conjunction when we talk about capacity. And that's the planned production rate of a certain option, trim level, and such like that. Like Maverick's a good example I like to use, because the XL is being produced at a 20 to 22% capacity. If the orders are over that capacity, then that's where we get that constraint, and that's where that could take longer for those orders to schedule. Also, out not having allocations too. So, job one and job two, that is production within a model year. We're already getting into that already with Maverick, because they're going to have a short job one before moving to job two for 25 model year. So that's where they want to introduce maybe a new trim level or maybe a new option, like they are with the Maverick with the Lobo. That's where they're going to introduce that. And then balance out. That's when they're done. They're balancing out production for that year, moving on to the next year. And there are several models that are balancing out very soon. So we'll be starting to use that terminology a little bit more. All right. Okay. 24 model year Mustang. The order banks are open up for the time being. It does say in here, Dark Horse order banks are closed for 24 model year. But for the 24 model year, the order banks are still open up, that they will be closing. It looks like August 19th for the EcoBoost and GT. But the 25 model year order banks are open up as well. So you can actually, when you go into dealer, you might want to specify if you want a 24 or 25, because they are both open right now. And the reason that is because they're still scheduling to be done on 24 model year. They will overlap. So they need the 25 model year. They can't just start scheduling 25s because they need orders for that. And so that's usually why they give it a little bit of time for you to put orders in. And then in that meantime, they're scheduling 24 still. All right. No scheduling this week for the Mustang. There is a note in here. Don't forget about making sure on those 24 orders that you get COVP approval, a deadline of August 26th by 10 p.m. to complete that COVP, and it says final order due date is 9/5 for stock orders. All right. And there's currently 1,144 unscheduled 24 model year Mustang orders, retail orders. Next is the 25 model year Escape. There's currently 136 unscheduled retail orders for the 25 model year. Order banks are open up for 25 model year, including all trim levels, including plug-in. And this is a cleanup commitment. Really, they haven't scheduled for the startup much because they were supposed to last week and they didn't schedule. They are planning to schedule this week for the weeks of 9/16 through 9/23. So they're just scheduling for 2 weeks. And so they need to fulfill those allocations. I know we have allocations to be fulfilled. None of our orders are previewing, so I'm a little concerned about that, but Ford will do what they need to do. So next up, 24 model year Bronco Sport, 90 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Looks like for the 24 model year, they are closing on 8/9, same day as Maverick. We'll get into that. Stock 24 is closing 9/5. So you'll see that'll carry over into 9/5 because they'll open up the order bank for a little bit, but they're going to need to still fulfill 24 allocations for dealers. So that's why they're still open. And then retail order bank for 25 model year will open on 8/26. No scheduling this week. And it does say, here's a balanced out item. We'll talk about balanced out for 24 model year. Black appearance package is balanced out. That means you can't get any, they're not going to schedule any more of those. So if you were hoping to get one of those, you might look at 25 model year or look at a dealer lot, see what's out there. Next up, 24 model year Bronco. Currently 953 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Not too many at all, so there's really not any constraints because of that. Order banks are open up for most trim levels. Everglades is done. It's balanced out. In fact, there's no scheduling on Everglades anymore. Heritage Limited Edition, it's done as well. Heritage Edition 4-door is also closed, but a Heritage 2-door, Heritage Edition 2-door can be ordered, whether it be a retail or stock, and then all the other trim levels are open as well. They are not scheduling this week, and it does say update effective from Tuesday, July 30th. Oh, yeah. Dealers can, for their stocks, make those a priority 99s if they want. I'm not sure why they would, but I guess if that Ford pushes a SIM order on them and they don't like the configuration, they can 99 it, because we have some Mavericks like that we'd like to do. Next up, the 24 model year Mach-E. There's currently 74 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Order banks are open up for 24 model year. They are not scheduling this week, and there's no other notes for the Mach-E. So there's not really any constraints on any of those. You can pretty much order what you want. And dealers are getting allocations pretty easily for those. We turned down some because we have pretty good amount of stock right now. So we did turn down some Mach-E allocations, but so they're always looking for dealers to take those. So we always make sure we have at least one or two in case somebody does order one so they can be fulfilled. Hopefully most dealerships do the same thing. Next up, 25 model year Explorer. Currently 402 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for them. Order banks are open up for the Explorer, and there's not going to be any scheduling this week, and those are starting to arrive at dealers. We have a bunch, about 3 ST lines that arrived, and man, Night and day difference between 24 and 25. They did a great job. I will be doing a video at some point on the Ford digital experience and that touchscreen and where everything's located and everything. I'll get onto that probably next week. Next up, 24 model year Expedition. Currently 302 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are still open up for the 24 model year. They will be closing here probably in a month or two. Got a little bit of time yet. And they are not scheduling this week for production. All right, next up, 24 model year Maverick. There's currently 3,825 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Of those, 2,754 are XL, and 2,562 of those of the 38,000 are hybrid. So there's still a good chunk of XL orders. For the order bank, they are still open on the 24 model year. So retail ordering is going to close on 8/9 for the 24 model year. Stock is going to stay open until 9/5. So that means if, hey, you missed that deadline, see if a dealer will put a stock order in for you. So it'll be a little harder to get it scheduled because it's a stock than the retail, but that is an option if you miss that deadline. Retail order banks for the 25 model year are open up right now for retail and stock. So they are scheduled this week for the weeks of 9/2 through 9/23. Cleanup commitment, which means if a dealer has an allocation that they need to fulfill, they want to try to fulfill those allocations and not carry any over to the next month. We still have 32 that haven't gotten scheduled because last week they pumped in a bunch of FX4 packages for us, and we didn't want those, and so we actually took that off, and then none of them got scheduled. But I know a lot of FX4s did get scheduled because this week none of we have an FX4 in there from one of our members, and it is not previewing, which means they probably scheduled all their FX4s. If you're out there, dealer has an allocation, you have an FX4, you're probably not going to get scheduled. I can tell you what they want to schedule this week to fulfill their commitment or the holes that they have. Tremor. Lariat trimmer. They pumped in 12 lariat trimmers for us, which I hate to see because those are $40,000 Mavericks that people didn't order. So we'll see how we can change those orders so maybe those don't schedule. But that's kind of what they're looking for this week. So also noticed they were looking at XLT all-wheel drives with a 4K tow package with the 17-inch optional wheel. So right now there's a constraint with the tire on the XL and XLT, which we're going to get to, but those are some ways of getting those orders. It does say in here that they did add some XL, XLT, and Lariat versions for dealers that have stock allocations available or allocations that can be used for stock. And it says required orders. They need XLTs with a 2.0 Eco, all-wheel drive with that 17-inch machine face carbonized gray painted aluminum wheel with the aggressive all-terrain tire. So they need that tire combination. I also need Lariat 2.0 with all-wheel drive. So update, it says Lobo version will be available for 25 model year Maverick. We'll talk more about that later. If you're watching the recording, you might want to watch the live stream because we're going to talk about Lobo and ordering Lobos. It does say final order due date 9/5. That's for stock. And then limit availability for the hybrid engine, bed extender, and the splash guards. So, and then exhaust availability for the front wheel drive version, XL version, black appearance package, the modular hard drop-in liner, the optional one, not the one that's included in the package, and then the 17-inch carbonized gray aluminum wheel that's standard on XLT, and the tire that's standard on XL and XLT as well. That 225 65 R17 all-season tires. So that's a major constraint. So Continental can't make enough for what they need. So there you go. There's some of the things that they're looking for. So again, they are scheduled this week, but they're just trying to fill the last production that they can do. And from looking at what they gave us for orders, for stock orders, it looks like it's trimmer and XLT all-wheel drives with that aggressive tire. So good luck to you. If you have one of those, that's probably the ones that'll get scheduled. Otherwise, you probably won't get scheduled. Next up, 24 model year Ranger. Currently 699 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the Ranger, and they're not scheduling this week. So although I thought the Ranger was closing soon. Nope. Okay. I don't have information on that. Sorry. All right. Next up, 24 model year Super Duty. Currently 12,826 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank Order banks are currently open for the Super Duty. Don't have any timeline. Everybody asks me every week. We still don't have any information on when it's getting switched over. Does say here they are going to be scheduled this week for Kentucky Truck Plant for week of 9/2 through the week of 9/16, and at Ohio Assembly Plant the week of 9/9 and the week of 9/16. Cleanup commitment, so dealers will need an allocation. I can tell you for the most part, all the ones that we were seeing previewing, they weren't previewing any F450s. I don't know what the deal is there, but it does say in here sim orders were created this past weekend for Super Duty with the 6.7 liter, 2.8, and 7.3 engines and various cabs and series configurations. Yeah. It says we will be scheduling the sim orders. Those are ones that Ford creates. So they'll always start with an S order number. They said they were going to try to schedule some of those on Thursday, 8/8. So dealers aren't paying attention, may get something that they don't want on their lot. So, yeah, we pay attention to that. Required orders, they're still saying they need F250s and 350s with a 6.8 liter, XL without the heavy duty standard alternator. And they also need F250s and 350 XLT and Lariats with the 7.3 liter gas engine without the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. I've already been telling dealers to take these. We're done. We've been trying. We've taken a bunch and start building things that we need. So make those other ones. Limited availability for the limited version for the F550. For the 18-inch sparkle silver painted cast aluminum wheel with the bright hub cover that's standard on XLT, F250, and F350 single rear wheels, as well as the 20-inch polished and dark carbonized gray high gloss painted aluminum wheel that is standard on the limited F250, F350 single rear wheel. Also, the lug nut cap that's available on the Lariat F250 single rear wheel, XLT F250, 350 single rear wheel, 4x4s with a 10.5 axle. So there's usually more than on there, but that's all we have for this week on the Super Duty. 24 model year F-150, currently 5,800 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks for the 24 are currently open for stock, but not retail. It closed on the 2nd, I believe, 1st or 2nd of last week. Order banks are going to open up for the 25 model year, August 26th, the same day as Bronco Sport. So they are scheduled this week for the week of 9/16. The heads-up display is restricted and standard on most high series. So they're suggesting you go with on a Tremor, go with a 401A. On the Lariat, go with a 501A. On the Platinum, go with the 701A. Because if you go with the 402A, 502A, and 702A or 703A, it comes with a heads-up display, and it probably won't get scheduled. All right. Dealers with Raptor allocation must submit a Raptor order 801A without the tonneau cover. So take off those tonneau covers. And then also key dates, COVP approval needs to be done by 8/9 for any of those who got the last orders in on last Friday. And then also it says for stock orders, that last date is 9/5 for stock orders for dealers. And limited availability for the tough bed spray and liner, as well as a 6-inch extended chrome running board that's included on the 502A. So next up, 24 model year Transit, currently 4,171 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Order banks are still open up for the 24 model year stock in retail. They are scheduled this week for the week of 9/23. Said that they put in some transit orders for dealers that need them. We weren't one of them. So to increase chances of your order being selected, please consider adding the 12-inch screen to your vehicles. And it also says transit orders with the trail package will not be selected for scheduling. Limited availability for the AM/FM stereo with a 4-inch multi-function display, as well as a Sync 3 with the 4-inch multi-function display, which is why they're telling you to take the 12-inch screen. So that would fix that problem. So there you go. That's all at scheduling. So if you're watching our Wednesday night video, drop your comments down below. If you happen to be with us Tuesday night on the live stream, let's take your questions right now.